Denial. What exactly is that? I'm Michaela Weaver, and today I'm going to talk about that very subject with you here. Denial was a place I was at for a long time around alcohol, and we hear people say, oh, they're in denial. So what exactly does that really mean? Because there's an extra element to it that might not be immediately obvious. When we're unaware of a problem, we're not in denial, we're just actually unaware of it. And for a long time, many drinkers are at that place of ignorance, where they're just unaware that it's a problem. And when I say ignorance, I'm not saying that the person is ignorant. I'm saying that they're ignorant. They're ignoring the fact that there may be a problem. They're just not looking at it. They're not shining a light on it in a way that actually opens it up to a level of awareness that there is actually a problem. One of the reasons for that level of ignorance around alcohol is because it is such an expected thing to do. In our society, we are expected to drink. And in fact, it's the person who doesn't drink that gets the light shone on them that there's something wrong with them. What's the matter with you for not wanting to consume this highly toxic, cancer-causing, highly addictive, psychoactive drug? There must be something wrong with you. Really? Ironically, the same thing was true of cigarette smoking. Back 50 years ago, something like 80% of the population used to smoke. And there was something wrong with you if you didn't smoke. It was like a social pariah. What's the matter with you? Why aren't you doing this? It must be really boring. And now, people who smoke cigarettes, I don't think it's seen as a social, cool or good thing to do. And so the reason for that shift is that society's perceptions have changed around cigarette smoking, but not around alcohol. So we can be ignorant to the fact that society says it's okay, we're doing it every night of the week, we're drinking half a bottle of wine every night at the weekends because it's weekend, we do it a bit more, and we think that that's okay, we think that that's normal. And so if you were injecting heroin every night of the week and doing more of it at the weekend, would you think that was normal? Because that is also a highly addictive drug. Now, I'm not going to go down the road of other drugs. I'm here to talk specifically about alcohol as the alcohol coach. This is my field of expertise. So that denial, in inverted commas, can come from being unaware. And there can be a lot of noise around it and us still be unaware. And part of that is also around an unconscious denial. Everything we do as human beings is engineered by our natural biology to help us survive. We do things to make ourselves feel better, to make ourselves feel good, to give us what we think we need. It's inherent. It's inherent in us, as inherent as it is in a bird that will go out and tap the ground to get the worm up. It is inherent. And alcohol hijacks that. And if we are thinking on a subconscious level that alcohol is helping us, which is why everybody drinks, because of that belief, which is actually untrue, but that's a different conversation. Because that belief is there, the human being unconsciously believes that alcohol is helping. And so the fact that drink is being consumed daily, often waking up with hangovers, feeling awful, the fact that all that's going on is not even recognised in the conscious part of the mind. It is just left at that unconscious level because the human being believes that it's helping in some way. It's only when listening to conversations like this that something resonates and you think, hang on a minute, you mean it's not normal? And it, as in alcohol, is a highly toxic drug and it's highly addictive. And if we take any addictive drug often enough, we're likely to get addicted. And if we're doing something that has negative effects on us, like hangovers, remorse, wishing we didn't do it, but finding we're doing it anyway. Maybe we're out with friends and we don't want to drink tonight, and yet we found ourselves with a glass in our hand and we didn't want it, and yet we're doing it. And then another night has gone where we've just drunk far more than we really wanted to, anticipated, and wake up feeling awful, and then we do it again. That is an addictive scenario playing out in real time. Because if it was genuinely something that you didn't want to do and there was no level of addiction or belief invested in it, then you wouldn't do it. And so this is part of the denial, is a complete lack of awareness in the individual that there is actually a problem, because it's built into the belief system that it's of benefit. And so when we think about denial, normally it's at a point where maybe somebody said something. Maybe a family member has said, "Do you think you're drinking too much?" Or maybe you've even wondered yourself. Friends might point, "Oh, she's out again and she's had too much to drink," or "He's out again and he's drinking too much." And yet there's inaction. And so often when we talk about denial, we're really talking about that inaction. Surely that person can see that there's a problem. But they can't see it's a problem because they believe it's of benefit. And that's the kind of conundrum. It's evident to people outside that there's a problem, but the individual is still caught in this cycle of believing it's a benefit. And so in another video, I'm going to dive into that with some analogies and metaphors which will help you to understand that caught in the loop element that applies to the drinker. Because all that needs to happen to change this is a realization initially that, hey, I'm caught in a loop here. And when that realization happens, that opens up the possibility for you to get into that loop and stop it, to cut it, to break it. But the first thing that has to happen is an awareness that you're in a loop. Otherwise, you're unhappily going round and round and round and round thinking, this is my life. This is me. This is normal. This is the way everybody is, surely. And actually, there are hundreds of thousands, millions who are in that loop, who are unaware. And this is all about the realization that there is a loop, that you are in it, and that the first thing to do is to realize that. I'm Michaela Weaver. Thank you for listening.